Hello everybody, my name is Paul, and this is the Lady J, and she's a project boat. I know there's a lot of you out there that are watching these videos, people sailing around the world, people who are building boats, refurbishing boats, basically living the cruising lifestyle, or attempting to live the cruising lifestyle. And there are videos out there about buying boats. I'm making this video, and maybe a few more, to help you succeed by getting off on the right foot. And I'm going to try to tell you some things that I've not seen in any of the videos that I've watched. I've seen one or two videos that mention it, but I've not seen any video that directly addresses the issues. So I hope to fill in that gap here and maybe make you aware of a few things that you probably don't know, particularly if you're new to boating and boating lifestyle and so forth. The first thing I want to talk about is marinas. Now, let's say you've bought your boat and it's tied up in a nice little marina close to home, and it needs some work. So you go down to the to the marina with your tools in hand, and you start working on it. And a few minutes later, the dock master comes running down the dock, waving his arms, going, "Wait, wait, wait, you can't do that here. We don't want the pollution, we don't want the noise, we don't want the dust flying around on other people's boats. You just can't do that here." Well, I've seen that happen, and you are now put in a situation where you need to get this work done, and you don't have a place to do it. Be aware, some marinas don't care what you do. Some marinas will allow you to do some work. They will allow you to varnish and paint and anything that's non-pollutive, noise-wise or dust-wise. The other thing you need to know about marinas is that you've bought this boat and you're planning to move on board it and live on it while you do this work. Well, live-aboard marinas are a dying breed. When I first moved down here to southern Florida, there were about half of the marinas that allowed you to live on your boat. Now, I think it's down to 3 or 4. So, when you buy your boat, and if you plan on living on that boat while you do the work, you need to talk to the dock master and find out if they allow live-aboards. Some marinas do not allow it at all. They won't even talk to you about it. Some marinas have a policy where you're only allowed to stay on it 2 weeks a month. And some marinas, they don't care. So those are two things that you need to know about working on your boat and living on it. Another thing I might mention is, well, what do marinas charge? And that's a widely varying number, but basically marinas charge by the documented length of your boat. So if you buy a 30-foot boat, that's its documented length, that's what you'll pay for it. This boat, the Lady J, has a 9-foot bowsprit on it, and basically I pay for the bowsprit. I pay whatever the dollar rate is per foot for the privilege of having a bowsprit. So, if you're really trying to squeeze the budget the best you can, you might want to consider that, hey, if I buy a boat with a bowsprit, I may have to pay an extra cost for however long that is. It's a minor point, but something worth thinking about. Going rates can be anywhere from $8 or $9 a foot to a more realistic $10.50 to $12.50 a foot, depending on location. Now, I know of other marinas here where I live that charge as much as $18 a foot. And that's not an unusual rate. It's a little high, but it's not unusual. Not as high as some of the marinas I've seen in more exotic places where the city marina, which is typically the cheapest around, runs $38 a foot. And the private marina that is right next to it, in fact, uses the same entrance point, is an astounding $60 a foot. So what it costs to stay in a marina varies, and that's something else you probably want to start checking out, maybe even before you buy the boat. The other thing I'd like to talk about is boat yards. You know, if you're going to buy a boat and you know ahead of time that you're going to have to haul it out and do some work on it, maybe some major work on it, you're going to have to find a boat yard that's close to you. If you plan on doing the work, you need to find something that's convenient to you. When I bought this boat, I had to take a job in Atlanta, which is 600 miles away. Well, basically the work stopped on the boat while I attended to my job. So a lot of things got put on hold, and a lot of things actually deteriorated because I had started something and didn't finish it. So proximity to your home, where you plan on living while you're doing this work, is very important. You know, you might want to consider finding a yard that's close to you. If you can't, you might want to consider moving. And you know, that's a game that you're going to have to play to balance things out. You have to be able to work on it on the weekends. And you know, some boat yards aren't open on Sunday. Some yards are open, doesn't matter. There's no security. You can just drive down, work on your boat, and go home. So keep that in mind. It's very important to be able to get to the boat and work on it whenever you want. Nights, weekends, holidays, whatever you know your plan is. What do boat yards charge you? Well, there's basically two kinds of boat yards. There's the boat yard that will cater to the do-it-yourselfer, and there is the boat yard that doesn't allow you to even pick up a paintbrush. So, you know, when you go to buy your boat, make sure that you ask the marina people or the dock master, you know, where do people go to get their boat worked on, and where are the do-it-yourself yards. It may turn out that there isn't one close to you, so you know, keep that in mind. The other thing that you need to know about boat yards is that if they are a do-it-yourself yard, they're going to charge you by the day, and typically it's $15 a day while you're working on your boat. There are a few boat yards out there that are small, and they cater to the do-it-yourselfer, provided you can get in, do your work, and get out. The example I'm thinking of, they charge $15 a day for the first 10 days, I believe. After that, the price goes up to like $40 a day, and the reason is it's a small yard. They want to get you in and get you out because there are other do-it-yourselfers waiting to get in there. There are a few boat yards that, if they're going to do the vast majority of the work, for example, you're having your boat hauled, you want the bottom scraped, maybe sanded down, maybe even peeled and epoxied and then prepped and painted. If they're going to do that work, if the yard's going to do that work, they will probably let you come in and do minor stuff, maybe change a through hull, put in a transducer for the depth sounder, that kind of thing. Typical charges for a boat yard are around $500 to have your boat hauled out, put on stands, pressure washed, and then splashed at the end of the day, or the end of the project. There are, however, a few boat yards that charge one price to haul the boat and a different price to put it back in the water. So you need to ask and make sure that you're aware of that as well. I think those are probably the basic things that you need to know about boat yards. I would mention one final thing. If you're going to buy a project boat and you know it's going to need a lot of work, and you need to get it out of the water while you're doing it, try to find a place close to you that you can put the boat where you're not going to be paying a huge amount of money just for the privilege of having it sitting on stands. If you have friends who have a vacant lot next to them, or a big backyard and they're willing to have you plant your boat back there for a while, that's something you really need to consider. The closer to home, the better. I lived on this boat while I did most of the work, and that meant living under the stars a few times, because I've replaced the coach roof on this boat. The coach roof sides, the decks. Believe me, it's not fun. And in fact, I've lived on this boat in the boatyard for about 11 months. Yeah, that's right, 11 months. So just take it from somebody who knows. There are a lot of little ins and outs of this business that probably nobody's told you about. And I'm trying to help you make the right decision and get you started on the right foot. Hopefully in a few other videos I'll discuss some of the gotchas of the project itself, and maybe if anybody sends me any questions, I'll try to answer them about what I've already talked about here. And in the meantime, I'm going to say thank you for watching this, and good luck to you. Again, my whole purpose here is to help you succeed, get off on the right foot, know what you can and can't do, and what to expect once you buy that boat. Take care. Thanks for watching.